Assalamu alaikum everyone, good morning and welcome to the Inside Scoop, aapka favorite finance, economics and business show. So, today we have big news. Petrol ki price 7.5 rupees reduce ho gayi hai. The new rate is 264 rupees per litre. लेकिन on the other hand, diesel 1.5 रुपये महंगा हो गया है, bring the price to almost 286 rupees. आप सोच रहे होंगे एक चीज़ ऊपर जा रही है दूसरी नीचे जा रही है, तो लेट्स ब्रेक इट डाउन फॉर यू, क्योंकि फ्यूल प्राइसिंग सिर्फ नंबर्स नहीं बल्कि इकोनॉमी के हर सेगमेंट को अफेक्ट करती है. पेट्रोल का सस्ता होना इज़ अ मेजर रिलीफ फॉर डेली कम्यूटर्स, राइट, जिनमें बाइक वाले, रिक्शे, स्मॉल कार यूज़र्स शामिल हैं. ये वो लोग हैं जो ऑलरेडी टाइट मंथली बजट्स के साथ गुजारा कर रहे हैं. सो पेट्रोल कट उनके लिए शॉर्ट टर्म कंफर्ट है. लेकिन याद रखें ये प्राइसेस हर 15 दिन में रिव्यू होती हैं, सो कोई भी रिलीफ परमानेंट नहीं होती. डीजल की प्राइस इंक्रीज इज़ मच मोर इन्फ्लेशनरी. ट्रक्स, बसेस, फार्म मशीनरी मोस्टली डीजल पे चलती हैं, राइट. तो जब डीजल महंगा होता है तो वेजिटेबल से लेके कंस्ट्रक्शन मटेरियल तक हर चीज़ कॉस्ट बढ़ती है. इट्स द इनविजिबल ड्राइवर ऑफ महंगाई, तो जो हर किसी को फील होती है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, इवन अगर आपको उस वक्त समझ नहीं आ रहा कि उसका इफेक्ट कहाँ आता है. अब आते हैं असल मैकेनिज्म को. फ्यूल प्राइसेस पाकिस्तान में कैसे सेट होती हैं. ओगरा यूजेस इंटरनेशनल ऑयल प्राइसेस, फ्रेट, इंपोर्ट प्रीमियम्स एंड रिफाइनरी कॉस्ट्स, और उन सबको ऐड करके प्राइस आती है. फिर उसमें पेट्रोलियम लेवी, जीएसटी, डीलर मार्जिन जुड़ते हैं. आज के दिन ऑलमोस्ट 90 रुपीज़ पर लीटर तक टैक्स होता है. सो इवन अगर ग्लोबल प्राइसेस नीचे आ जाएं, फुल रिलीफ कंज्यूमर तक नहीं आता. दिस टाइम पेट्रोल का रेट इसलिए कम हुआ है क्योंकि ग्लोबल मार्केट में पेट्रोल प्रीमियम्स और फ्रेट दोनों गिरे हैं. डीजल में ये डिक्लाइन नहीं आया. ओगराज लोकल एडजस्टमेंट्स मेड इट मोर एक्सपेंसिव. ये ड्यूल प्राइसिंग कंज्यूमर को कंफ्यूज करती है और सबसे ज़्यादा प्रेशर ट्रांसपोर्ट और एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर्स में पड़ता है. और सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़, फ्यूल प्राइसेस सिर्फ इकोनॉमिक इंडिकेटर नहीं, ये पॉलिटिकल टूल भी हैं. जब इलेक्शंस नज़दीक हों, फ्यूल सस्ता हो जाता है. जब आईएमएफ का प्रेशर होता है, लेवी बढ़ जाता है, और आवाम का बर्डन भी. सो दिस इज़ नॉट जस्ट अ प्राइस अपडेट, ये एक सिग्नल है जहाँ इकोनॉमी कहाँ जा रही है, और इस सिग्नल को इग्नोर करना ख़ुद को अंधेरे में रखने जैसा है. Another big development on the economic front is USA पाकिस्तान की ट्रेड डील, राइट. पाकिस्तान और अमेरिका के दरमियान एक बहुत बड़ी इकोनॉमिक डील फाइनलाइज हो रही थी, जो सिर्फ ऑयल एंड गैस तक लिमिटेड नहीं बल्कि इससे पाकिस्तान के एक्सपोर्ट, ट्रेड टर्म्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट डायनामिक्स भी डीपली इफेक्ट होंगे. ये एग्रीमेंट दो मेजर चीज़ों पर फोकस करता है. एक जॉइंट ऑयल एक्सप्लोरेशन पार्टनरशिप, और दूसरी चीज़ यूएस तरफ से पाकिस्तानी एक्सपोर्ट पे टैरिफ्स को रिड्यूस करना. पहली बात यह है कि यूएस और पाकिस्तान जॉइंटली काम करेंगे टू एक्सप्लोर पाकिस्तान के ऑयल रिजर्व्स, ठीक है, जो मोस्टली अभी तक अंडर यूटिलाइज्ड हैं, एज वी नो. ये एक्सप्लोरेशन एक मेजर यूएस बैक्ड ऑयल फर्म लीड करेगी जिसका नाम भी डिस्क्लोज नहीं हुआ. पाकिस्तान के एग्जिस्टिंग ऑयल रिजर्व्स अराउंड 234-353 मिलियन बैरल्स हैं, जो ग्लोबली ज़्यादा नहीं हैं. लेकिन स्पेकुलेशन है कि ऑफशोर ड्रिलिंग की काफ़ी बार डिस्कवरीज हो सकती हैं अगर सही टेक्नोलॉजी और फंडिंग मिल जाए. बिकॉज हम कोशिश करते रहते हैं क्या कहते हैं, डू ऑफशोर ड्रिलिंग, लेकिन वो हमसे, we've tried, I believe, if I'm not wrong, we have tried doing this 7 or 8 times. Last time हमने कोशिश की 2019 में, and that failed. इंडिया ने 9 दफ़ा कोशिश की थी, and 9 times they failed, and on the 10th time their offshore drilling worked, right. So where was I was telling you guys about, yes. तो इस खबर के तुरंत बाद मार्केट ने रिएक्ट किया. OGDC पाकिस्तान की जो लार्जेस्ट एनर्जी कंपनी है, उसका मार्केट कैप वंस अगेन क्रॉस ₹1 ट्रिलियन. ये सिर्फ एक फाइनेंशियल माइलस्टोन नहीं बल्कि इन्वेस्टर कॉन्फिडेंस का भी सिग्नल है. OGDC फ्यूचर ऑयल एक्सप्लोरेशन का एंकर बनेगा. दूसरी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ इस डील में है कि यूएस ने पाकिस्तान के एक्सपोर्ट्स पर प्रपोज किए थे 29% की टैरिफ हाइक, वो कैंसिल हो गई है. अगर ये हाइक लग जाता तो पाकिस्तान के एक्सपोर्ट्स को हर साल तकरीबन $1 बिलियन का नुकसान होता. नए टर्म्स के मुताबिक टैरिफ्स 20% तक होंगे, जो टेक्सटाइल, लेदर, सर्जिकल गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट करने वाले सेक्टर्स के लिए गेम चेंजर हो सकते हैं, राइट. ये भी याद रखें कि पाकिस्तान और यूएस के एनुअल ट्रेड वॉल्यूम्स $7.3 बिलियन हैं, जिसमें पाकिस्तान का $3 बिलियन का सरप्लस है. सो टैरिफ रिलीफ का सीधा फ़ायदा पाकिस्तान को होगा. लेकिन ये डील सिर्फ ऑयल और टैरिफ्स तक लिमिटेड नहीं है. दोनों कंट्रीज़ ने फ्यूचर कॉपरेशन के लिए भी एग्रीमेंट किया है. IT, माइनिंग, डिजिटल फाइनेंस, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट. मतलब कि لانگ ٹرم میں یہ ریلیشن شپ ڈائیورسفائی ہونے والا ہے. پاکستان کی آئل پروڈکشن آلریڈی ڈکلائن میں ہے. 2019 میں 89,000 بیرلز پر ڈے سے گر کے 64,000 پر آ گئی ان 2025. اگر یو ایس کی ایڈوانس ڈرلنگ ٹیکنالوجی اور کیپٹل آتی ہے تو پھر یہ ٹرینڈ ریورس ہو سکتا ہے, رائٹ. لیکن یہ سب اوور نائٹ آبویسلی نہیں ہوگا. یہ ریل پاکستان کے لیے ایک مائنڈ سیٹ شفٹ ریپرزینٹ کرتا ہے, جہاں ہم صرف آئی ایم ایف یا لونز پر ریلائی نہیں کرتے بلکہ ٹریڈ اور انویسٹمنٹ ڈریون گروتھ ماڈل کی طرف جاتے ہیں. سو جو بھی ہرڈلز ہیں, یہ موو پاکستان اور گلوبل انویسٹر کمیونٹی میں ایک نیا سگنل دیتا ہے. وہ ریڈی فار بزنس, وہ ریڈی فار تھنکنگ ریجنل اسکیل پہ. اب دیکھنا ہے کہ او جی ڈی سی اور گورنمنٹ اس مومنٹم کو کیسے کنورٹ کرتی ہے انٹو گراؤنڈ لیول پروجیکٹس, کیونکہ ہیڈ لائنس تو پاورفل ہیں لیکن ریئل امپیکٹ تبھی ہوگا جب ڈرلنگ اسٹارٹ ہوگی, آئل ملے گا, ایکسپورٹس گرو کریں گی. سو اس ہفتے پرائم منسٹر شہباز شریف نے ایک ہائی لیول فیڈرل کیبنٹ میٹنگ چیئر کی, جہاں انہوں نے پاکستان کے لیے کچھ میجر ڈیولپمنٹ اسپاٹ لائٹ کیے. فائنینشیل ریفارمز, انرجی سیکٹر ریسٹرکچرنگ, فلڈ رسپانس, انٹرنیشنل ڈپلومیسی. یہ ٹاپکس سب سے زیادہ ان کو امپورٹنس دی گئی. پی ایم کی ٹون کلیئر تھی کہ یہ وقت صرف بات کا نہیں ہے, ڈلیوری کا ہے اور ہر منسٹری کو رزلٹ دینے ہوں گے. انہوں نے پرائیویٹائزیشن کمیشن کے چیئرمین محمد علی, ٹاسک فورس اور پاک آرمی کی لیڈرشپ کو خاص طور پہ اپریشیٹ کیا فار دیئر وائٹل رول ان دس ڈیل. پرائم منسٹر نے اسے ایک بینچ مارک فار گڈ گورننس کہا اور دوسری منسٹریز کو کہا کہ اس پرفارمنس کو اسٹینڈرڈ کو فالو کریں. فلڈس کا بھی ذکر ہوا, خاص طور پہ گلگت بلتستان اور پنجاب کے کچھ علاقے ہیں جہاں there were a lot of lives lost. پرائم منسٹر نے وکٹمس کے لیے فاتح کی اپیل کی اور کہا کہ رسپانس امیڈیٹ اور کمپیشنیٹ ہونا چاہیے. ٹیررزم کے خلاف وار میں شہید ہونے والوں کو بھی ٹریبیوٹ دیا, اسپیشلی کے پی اور بلوچستان کے جوانوں کو. انرجی ریفارمز پہ بھی کام ہو رہا ہے. پاور منسٹر سردار اویس لغاری اور ان کی ٹیم کو پرائم منسٹر نے ریولیوشنری ایفرٹس کے لیے کریڈٹ دیا. جو نان پرفارمنگ ڈسکوز تھے انہیں ہٹا دیا گیا ہے اور پبلک ٹرسٹ واپس آ رہا ہے. پرائم منسٹر نے کہا کہ ہر منسٹری کو اس طرح پیشن شو کرنا پڑے گا. لاہور ریلوے اسٹیشن کی بھی بات ہوئی. پرائم منسٹر نے بتایا کہ ان کا پچھلا وزٹ 1993 میں ہوا تھا, اس دفعہ وہ کافی امپریس تھے. فیڈرل منسٹر حنیف عباسی کو ماڈرنائزیشن ایفرٹس کے لیے پریز ملا. پرائم منسٹر نے کہا کہ اسٹیشن اب ڈگنیفائڈ اور انوائرمنٹ کے ساتھ ایک نیشنل ماڈل بن گیا ہے. انٹرنیشنل فرنٹ پر بھی پاکستان کا سٹانس کلیئر ہے. پرائم منسٹر نے ڈپٹی پرائم منسٹر اسحاق ڈار کی یو این کانفرنس آن غازہ میں پارٹیسپیشن کو اپریشیٹ کیا. کہا کہ سب خاموش تھے اور پاکستان نے غازہ کے لیے آواز اٹھائی. پاکستان نے 2 8 کنسائنمنٹس ایجپٹ اور جارڈن کے ذریعے بھیج دیے ہیں. اینڈ اپ کمنگ یو این جنرل اسمبلی میں پرائم منسٹر نے کہا کہ پاکستان غازہ کی سیز فائر کے لیے پریشر ڈالے گا. میٹنگ کے اینڈ پر پرائم منسٹر نے کہہ دیا ٹائٹلز ڈونٹ میٹر, پرفارمنس ڈز. پاکستان کو صرف ریزلٹس چاہیے اور ہر منسٹر کو وہ ڈلیور کرنا ہوگا. سو آن دس نوٹ وی آر گوئنگ ٹو ٹیک اے ویری شارٹ بریک, جس کے بعد وی آر گوئنگ ٹو ہیو دا ہیڈ آف ریسرچ فواد بشیر فرام کے ٹریڈ ود us, who is going to be sharing some of his things that he has to say. Before we take a break, I want to remind you guys کہ پچھلے ہفتے سے we've been talking to you guys about scams. So the importance of this is کہ جب آپ لوگ انویسٹمنٹ کرتے ہیں نا اینڈ اٹس ناٹ ریگولیٹڈ, یو ہیو ٹو کیپ ان مائنڈ کہ آپ کو کوئی کنفرمیشن نہیں ہے کہ آپ کو پیسے واپس ملیں گے یا نہیں ملیں گے. دیٹس دا مین تھنگ. تو آپ کو شاید اس میں پروفٹ بھی نظر آ رہا ہو. دا مین پوائنٹ از ول یو بی ایبل ٹو ایکسیس دس منی, کیونکہ یہ ہوتے ہیں ڈیجیٹل ایسیٹس, اور ڈیجیٹل ایسیٹس کا کوئی فریم ورک نہیں ہے پاکستان میں. تو اٹ کوڈ بی دیٹ دی ایکسچینج, آئی وونٹ ایون کال اٹ این ایکسچینج, دا اسکیم ایپ جسٹ ٹیلز یو کہ we're not giving you money. کس کے پاس لے کے جائیں گے, کیونکہ آپ یہاں کسی کے پاس لے کے جائیں گے تو سب سے پہلا سوال آتا ہے کہ یہ تو منی لانڈرنگ اور فلائٹ آف کیپٹل میں آتا ہے. آپ نے یو ایس ڈی ٹی کیسے ایکسیس کیا؟ پرابلی آپ نے ہنڈی حوالہ سے ایکسیس کیا ہوگا. بہت لوگ کہتے ہیں نہیں کوئی بات نہیں, میں صرف $1,000 $2,000 یو ایس ڈی ٹی لوں گا. انڈرسٹینڈ کہ جب بہت سارے لوگ, مطلب 1000 لوگ اگر $1,000 لے رہے ہیں نا, that's $1 million in USDT. That is being lost for our country. یہ چیزیں ساری گرے اکانومی میں آتی ہیں, ہماری اکانومی کو ہرٹ کرتی ہیں. So on that note, we're going to take a very short break. So grab your coffee or chai, whatever, get comfortable. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Inside Scoop. I am Mashal Khan. Stay with us. back. आप देख रहे हैं The Inside Scoop. Break पे जाने से पहले I'll let you guys know that we're going to have Fawad Bashir with us, who is the head of research from K-Trade. Fawad, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Assalamu alaikum, mashallah, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Alhamdulillah. So सबसे पहले I want to ask you what I ask every head of research who's kind enough to join us. कि target क्या है before you guys think that the market is going to take a turn toward a bear market? What is the next index target before that happens?
Okay, so I am not foreseeing, or we don't expect a bear market to set in right now. All the indicators are moving in the right direction. We are doing well economically. We are improving gradually, but we are improving. I don't see major headwinds coming from an economic perspective or a company profitability perspective. Based on that, we maintain our year-end target of plus 140,000. We're almost already there. But obviously, liquidity drives that have happened this year, particularly from individuals and brokers, that have led the rally. And I believe that now, if the insurance money and further changes in allocation from fixed income to equities, when that happens, then I believe there's going to be further liquidity in the market, which is probably going to propel the next leg of increase.
Lovely. So yesterday there was a lot of movement in the E&P sector after a long time. The last movement we saw was जब circular debt की news आई थी, and for 2 months there was a lot of movement there. लेकिन फिर क्योंकि जब भी बैंक से बात होती है किसी भी, I think even your research team, when you guys have spoken to the banks, everyone's like कि हमारी तरफ से सब कुछ हो गया है लेकिन अब पता नहीं क्या hold up है and the payment being disbursed, right? So after that we finally saw movement in E&P because of Trump's tweet regarding, Pakistan's oil reserves. But one thing to keep in mind is that Pakistan ने जब भी अपनी offshore drilling करने की कोशिश की है, we've I think made 7 or 8 attempts. Last attempt was in 2019. They have failed. India made 9 attempts before their 10th one was successful, and then they started offshore drilling. So what is the timeline on this? अगर US के साथ, for example, Trump does not change his mind overnight again and this stays consistent, there are companies chosen or exploration shuru hoti hai, what are the timelines on when the companies are going to see the inflow of money from this?
Okay, so again, offshore drilling is a very long gestation time before they can actually start earning money on it. Even let's just assume that today they find something in the Indian Ocean or the Arabian Sea, and today if they discover something, then it's probably going to take at least 2 to 3 years before it starts coming into the revenue stream, and it takes about a year and a half if it's on land. Depending on how quickly you're moving it. Every company has a different exploration program. Every company has different operators. So it really depends on what their efficiency is and how intent the company is to achieving that. That also plays a huge factor, and of course, there's a lot of capital involved in this. We've seen in the past that dry wells have, propped up, and they have pegged the balance sheets back of a few exploration companies, which are currently listed on the stock exchange. So keeping that in mind, I would be very, yes, it's a trading opportunity, it's hearsay, but if it does materialize, then maybe we can, look at it in a more detailed manner.
Okay, lovely. So how is the PSX reacting to the USA-Pakistan trade deal? और मतलब क्या effect आ सकता है, especially उन stocks पे जिनका weight ज़्यादा है in the index?
So, let me just give you a small, quick background. The narrative from the US has changed completely over the past, let's say, 6 months. And from not talking to us, suddenly we are propping up in the news, and with this trade agreement, we're probably one of the lowest charged tariff country in the Southeast Asian region at 19%. Even Bangladesh is higher than us. So I think this the narrative that has changed is basically indicating that yes, Pakistan is also here to do business, and whatever differences that we had in the past have sort of been addressed, and we are looking to expand this relation further. And with the US continually mentioning Pakistan, I believe that it is a very positive development and a very pleasant development after years of ups and downs. And I feel that going forward, if we can strike up a few business deals, for instance, we've talked about energy, right? And if anything else materializes, particularly in the banking space or in some consumer sectors which are actually open to the US market, textiles, then that can bode extremely well. Now we talked about index-heavy items, right? That's banks. And secondly, that's E&Ps, then cements and fertilizers. So in this space, if something develops, I believe the E&P sector will be the most beneficial. If some company strikes up a deal internationally with a US-based company in order to explore something over here, then obviously that can add value. But there are a lot of hurdles before before we can conclusively say this is going to happen.
Lovely. So that was the heavyweights, right? One sector that has been struggling, that all of us know, because of obviously issues in taxation and a million other issues from basically things that are in the government's hands, is the textile sector, right? A lot of times on the show, I've had people from the business side, especially saying that textile exporters are really suffering. They don't get any kind of relief in any way, and they're struggling to really make ends meet. So, is trade deal say, do we see there could be a possible economic revival in the textile sector?
Yes, I completely agree with that. More pertinently, I'm sure you have followed this news relating to the textile sector, which came in earlier this week, that there was a tax imposed on import of cotton.
Yeah.
So, I looked into the details of it. So, the exact clause is that, if you import cotton, which is obviously of a higher quality than what our local manufacturers offer. And it is required for companies exporting to, let's say, the US, because there are certain quality standards that they need to meet. So they need that cotton. And the clause is that if you do procure that, you need to show that in that particular year, you've used up that cotton, and that product was exported. So if they can prove that, then it'll be refunded.
Okay, lovely. So let's hope that we can see something bullish toward the textile sector. Because अभी बीच में छोटी सी rally आई थी, a very minimum rally in the textile side, लेकिन फिर I think it took a bit of a downturn, market correction आ गई थी. So last night it was announced कि petrol की prices decrease हो गई हैं, लेकिन diesel की price थोड़ी सी बढ़ गई है. तो can you explain the mechanism behind this change and कि इसका economy पे किस तरह से effect आ सकता है, how it affects different areas like agriculture, etc.
Of course. Our oil prices are determined on fortnightly basis. It's based on the average price that has been procured. Earlier, or a few years ago, it used to be a huge gap of 3 months. So whatever price that you were seeing right now, it was based on price which is 3 months old. Currently, I believe it's less than a month, or maybe fortnightly basis, as is basis based on consignment. So, if they did, maybe the only reason why I don't see a decline in diesel prices this time in this announcement is if they've imported maybe slightly larger quantity last time around, and not so much for petrol. So they have these inventory management plans, and they follow that. So if not this time, in the next fortnight, the decline would be visible in line with international prices.
Lovely. So at the end of the calendar year, आपको क्या लगता है कि where will the index be?
As I said, that our internal or our published targets is around more than 140, 142, almost.
That's
there.
it? Till December?
It was, And since then, a lot of things have transpired.
Yeah.
And the two skirmishes that we had, it was even looking that we're probably going to hit 120 or 110 again, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a lot of factors. But I believe that when we start working on our strategy towards the end, I think you should be looking at around 150 at the very least.
Okay, my target is 160, 165, but I'm a ridiculously bullish human being on the equity market, so I am.
I hope it happens.
I actually had someone on the show who said 200K, and I was like, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. May that happen. So, do you think currently, jahan PSX hai, because we were calculating this, our research team was, currently the multiple is averaging around 6.9 for the index, right? तो क्या आपको लगता है कि अभी भी the PSX, the KSE 100 is undervalued, and if so, why?
I mean, you have to go back and check your historic levels. And in times where our GDP growth is above 3%, those are the times where our market traded between, let's say, between anywhere from between 8.5 to 10, even 11 at times. But the average should be around 9. So that is the number that you should be looking at in terms of historical retracement. And if all is going well and if we are sustainably growing, then I believe that that should be the aim. That should be the multiple to aim for.
Lovely, lovely. So, one thing our market struggles with, जो पहले बहुत होता था, and then of course because of FATF and the difficulty of taking funds out of Pakistan, changed things about our market was foreign funds. Right? There was a lot more foreign participation पहले Pakistan Stock Exchange में, अब बहुत कम है. तो हम किस तरह से, मतलब कौन सी चीज़ें आपके foreign funds और foreign investors देखते हैं, which we could work on as a country, जो हमें ज़्यादा attractive बनाएंगे for foreign investment?
Okay, I think one of the key things that fine, our market performance is there, company performances are there, and there are a lot of companies on the wish list of these investor funds also, right? Particularly banks, particularly our traditional E&P companies, our cement plays. So all these companies are already on their radar. The biggest concern for them, or the biggest thing that they lost out to, was the currency devaluation that happened a few years back when we, and we are at 285 right now. But during this past year, State Bank has been very good in building up our reserves. And right now, I think yesterday when the reserves came out, we're about 19.6 billion. So healthy reserves indicate that we have the ability to absorb like short-term shocks. And there is not a lot of movement expected in the exchange rate. So stable exchange rate for a foreign investor is extremely important because any adverse movement is straight out of their returns.
Yeah.
And this is also due to the Pakistan susceptibility to boom bust cycles, right? But now, because we are in a stable phase right now, I think we're back on the radar. A lot of the companies and K-Trade has been pioneering international conferences, and we did a conference in May, and there's so much interest in Pakistan. We took about 8 to 10 companies, and all of them were really interested in those companies, but at the same time, the skirmish happened with India. So that sort of deterred them a bit. But now that things have settled, the narrative with the US is changing. We're back on the map, and I believe in the second half we can see some inflows coming in.
Lovely. So, हमारी stock market participation is the lowest in the region, right? This is not news to any of us. हमारा market cap to GDP भी अब after our market cap has reached now, I believe, $58 billion. So even now, it's at about between 14 and 15%. There's really low participation. Population-wise, only 0.16% of our population has accounts in the stock exchange. तो किस तरह से हम अपनी participation बढ़ा सकते हैं in the PSX?
I think this is one of your favorite questions because you're so positively advocating this over the past few, every time I've come to your show. Look, I always believe that awareness is the way forward. And,
Yeah.
that like we discussed earlier as well, that social media is extremely used now to impart education. There should be some ways to impart education like that from the PSX themselves. They should have these investor awareness sessions.
Yeah.
Brokerage houses themselves, they used to go to different localities across the country, and
Yeah.
K-Trade also used to do this. We used to go to Larkana and places like these, interior ke andar, Faisalabad, Multan, and
Yeah.
all these places, and we would have these awareness sessions in collaboration with the PSX,
Yeah.
and tell investors how to do this. So digital presence is extremely important as well because everything is online right now, and we are working with a few partners after which we will have a larger reach in the digital space. So I believe awareness sessions and easy account opening access on the digital front. These are the two key main elements we need to focus on, and I believe that's the future also.
Definitely. And making short, trendy TikToks on stuff relevant. I think
Right.
Gen Z needs to be aimed at, dude, I'm sure you know about this. Japan was not a coffee drinking country. So what Nestle did was they created coffee flavored candies and started giving them to children. So 20 years later, when those children grew up, there was a development in Japan and coffee started becoming part of their culture, and that is how Nestle infiltrated that. That's an example that I give to a lot of people जिनसे भी मैं बात करती हूँ, whoever comes to my show, and I do make some recommendations. It really is just like free advice, just like, that you have to essentially, हमारे जितने बच्चे अभी स्कूल में हैं, maybe in O levels, A levels, जो समझ पाएं, right, इस चीज़ को, because obviously if you go talk to a 5-year-old about this, they're not going to understand it. लेकिन kids जो economics पढ़ रहे हैं, जो इस level पे हैं, you start kind of maybe explaining to them, especially with people, real life examples like Warren Buffett, who started investing when he was 11 years old, right? And then made most of his wealth after the age of 50, Then people like Charlie Munger, who flunked out of university and then worked odd jobs, but then became, partner of one of the biggest companies in the world, Berkshire Hathaway, one of the most prestigious ones, especially related to the capital markets. So I think it's really important कि वो जो narrative create होता है, right? And the reason I think it's not pushed is because the people who are sitting in these idare aren't aware of it themselves. So I think one basic kind of prereq that needs to be there is कि आपके जो लोग इन इदारों में बैठे हुए, especially that investment and investment awareness, investment education is under them, वो तो इन्वेस्टर हों टू बिगिन विथ, वो ना गोल्ड लेके बैठे हुए हो, रियल एस्टेट लेके बैठे हुए हो, यू नो व्हाट आई मीन. सो इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम देयर, दैट्स द रूट.
But I'll tell you what, there was an advent in our market recently of a lot of startups popping up, and there's a lot of money floating around to these startups. One of these startups has actually done quite well, and their prime focus is financial literacy, and they service everyone. And the person in charge over there, he recently, I saw on LinkedIn that he was conducting these sessions in schools of grade 3, grade 4, grade 5 kids. So imparting this sort of knowledge at an early age, and I think that is what needs to change, and that needs to increase going forward from an educational perspective also.
Definitely. So coming back toward the stock market, and speaking a little bit more about this very tedious topic of circular debt that has now become more of a nuisance to our research departments than anything, I think. अब हमारी audience के लिए थोड़ा, would you like to shed some light, because of course you know these things, I know these things, लेकिन जब circular debt की 1.2 trillion की tranche निकल जाएगी and it will be settled, तो इसका effect specifically on, not a buy or sell call, on PSO, what will that effect mean? Can you explain why PSO is going to see that much of an effect?
Okay. So what's going to happen is that the payment is going to be made to the power companies.
ठीक है.
Power companies need fuel for their production. They take it from OMCs. So if they haven't paid the OMCs, if they're not getting the money and haven't paid the OMC, there's a stress on their balance sheets, right?
Yeah.
So the power companies receive the money, then the distribution companies get it, OMC will get it, PSO will get it, possibly SSGC, SNGP, they will get it. And they are also taking gas from somewhere, right? From exploratory companies. And then वो उनको ENP के पास जाएगा, फिर ENP देंगे refineries को. So the entire change इनकी balance sheets बहुत ज़्यादा inflate हो गई हैं कि receivable उनके बढ़ते जा रहे हैं.
Yeah.
वो रिसीवेबल एलिमेंट कम हो जाएगा, जिसकी वजह से इनकी जो फाइनेंसिंग रिक्वायरमेंट्स है वो भी नीचे आ जाएंगी, फाइनेंस कॉस्ट भी नीचे आएगी और ऑपरेशनली ये लोग बहुत ज्यादा बेहतर हो जाएंगे.
Okay, lovely.
To answer your question about PSO, it is going to be positive for me.
Yay, we love to hear. And thank you for explaining that to people so easily, because I think ये वो topic है कि usually जब आप circular debt की बात में घुसते हैं ना, तो बात कहीं से कहीं निकल जाती है and you somehow end up talking about completely different things. So thank you for explaining that so aptly. I'm going to ask you one final question, which is कि जो लोग नए investors हैं, right, and especially people who may be switching from different asset classes, because recently, as you know, बहुत सारे लोग actually अपनी real estate holdings finally, alhamdulillah, liquidate करके are coming toward the stock market. So for new investors, what are a few, like, you know, pearls of wisdom that you would like to leave with them, maybe so that they build kind of like a risk appetite and don't end up exiting, like buy high sell low na ho jaye unke sath.
I would urge them to, focus their portfolios at least 70 to 80% in blue chip companies. Your Luckies, your Mizan Bank, your FFC, your Mari Petroleum, Mari Energies now. So these companies should be the core of your portfolio. And if you're really interested that you want to double your money, you can take your bet with the 20% of the money that you have. But these companies, I would urge everyone to focus on these companies. These are blue chips. They offer decent yields. And there's not going to be a lot of capital depreciation or capital erosion in these companies, in my opinion. These are companies which are set for the future, and they have strong expansion plans. They are expanding, and they are moving as Pakistan is progressing.
Definitely.
So I believe that should be the bet.
Well, thank you so much for that, Fawad, and for being with us. I really appreciate it. And have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday during Market Open. So till then, take care of yourselves, Khudafiz, and have a lovely weekend.